So yeah, whatever you want to talk about, it's your clinical hour. So
Okay, cool. So how I would love, if possible, is I wanted to talk about. I have an idea for a TV show, and I just would love to get like your like just some insight from you around that. And then
so like, what do you? What's the bit of advice you want right now? What's
I
the
don't even know, like I wouldn't even know how to begin to actualize it aside from like my only in was like trying to spam Chelsea Peretti, which I know that's not how you do that.
definitely not how you do that. Well, because like before you start reaching to people, you definitely need more stuff written. Have you written anything?
Yes and no, like a lot of stuff on my phone, but it's all very like I have to put it together, like make us because I saw there's like certain
Okay.
apps or something you can do to make spec scripts or whatever, like they format it for you.
Yeah, you don't need that immediately.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff you can do before you get there, and then even then, there's free tools that you can use. Like I use Writer Duet, which is a free writing software. It's basically like a free version of Final Draft, which is it's a scripting software. So basically, it puts everything into a script format. Um, yeah, it's called Writer Duet,
Okay.
and like it has a free version that you can put up to where I'm writing all of Douche Rehab on there now,
Okay.
and like still doing it for free. We're going between that and like 'cause Mickey has Final Draft, and the good thing is like it can export and import things from other script
Oh,
writers.
yeah, yeah,
So it's really good in that way. But like I said, you don't need that right now.
yeah. Okay.
The things I think you should start with, because this is such a raw idea, is you need to start making the universe a little more finite. And so by that, I mean your characters, right? Because this is a character driven show. And so
Mm-hmm.
it seems like you want to have an ensemble cast.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like you have to determine how many people. And like, so for Douche Rehab, like it's also an ensemble. And so we have four main ensemble characters and then a bunch of secondary characters and tertiary characters, right? And so what I did in preparing Douche Rehab is I wrote everything I could think of for the characters. And I don't know if you've read the book Comics Toolbox by John Morehouse.
No.
Pick it up. And because I recommend it, because A, it's good for joke writing, but B, in the last half of the book, he's talking about script writing and he's talking about how to create scenes and make them funny, and also how to write your characters, how to develop your characters, and what you should do when you're trying to flesh out a character. And so basically, I took his framework of you look at like who they are, where they're from, and then you look at like what their core traits are. So you list like the main adjectives that come to mind. Then you write their backstory. Then you write their faults. Then you write like what their
Mm-hmm.
their core wounds are, what their real goals are, what they think their goals are. And so like you have all of that, and then once you have all of that for your characters, especially for something that is as character driven as this show, it's easier to put them into a position because you
Mm-hmm.
already know how they'll think and you know all the things that are influencing the way they think, because rarely in a situation are we just guided by one thing. Often it's ulterior motives that we're often not even fully aware of that are still guiding things, and having an awareness of all that when you're writing your characters makes it a lot easier to basically um, flush them out and put them in situations and know how they react.
Okay.
Because like a lot of what you're describing for like what you want to do with the show is you want to establish these characters and know that they are, core people, yada yada yada. But we need to know why we like them, what we're rooting for about them, what we want to change, what we don't want to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then you want to go with all that and take it to like you want to like once you have all that easily written out, then it's easier to take your ideas and make them a little more fluid on the page. Because once you start putting people in these situations, you'll know.
How they respond.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you said, sorry, it was John Morehouse?
Morehouse.
Okay, cool.
Vorhaus. But yeah, it's a really good book. I literally just took like, cause he has a fucking character framework that I just took and just filled it out for every character.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a bunch of other versions of it, but I like the way he presents it mainly because he's like coming at it traditionally from like a comedy standpoint. But like, and so that just made it a lot easier for me to understand. So I've read a couple other books that were way more film technical,
Yeah.
and that just didn't really sit with me because I just didn't get it.
Yeah.
But it's very approachable, especially coming from a comedic aspect.
Okay, cool. That's great. Thank you. Also, I recognize fully that this is a pipe dream, but I also like
That's how every show starts, you know.